Fiber Choice, now in assorted fruit chewable tablets and hard candy drops.
The Lotto jackpot's $54 million. The winning number is next.
This is Eyewitness News, the news leader, with Sandra Bookman and Charles Perez, Marvell Scott with sports, and Lee Goldberg with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast. Now, Eyewitness News at 11.
A family tragedy tonight. A 10-year-old child allegedly shoots his 8-year-old cousin in the face. And a Russian submarine finally cut loose in a dramatic rescue mission. Good evening, everyone. I'm Michelle Charlesworth. Sandra is off tonight.
And I'm Charles Perez. We begin tonight with that shooting in Brooklyn. Police responding to the scene of reported gunfire, only to find the victim, a little girl. An 8-year-old girl, Brenda Fields, shot in the face, police believe, by her 10-year-old cousin. It happened on Pacific Street in Brownsville. Our Jeff Pegues joins us now live from nearby Brookdale Hospital with the latest. Jeff.
And Charles, the 8-year-old girl is here. She was brought here by ambulance shortly after the shooting. Just minutes ago, her grandfather told me that her condition has been upgraded. She was in critical condition earlier tonight. She's now been upgraded to stable condition. But the family firmly focused on her recovery. They're not even thinking about this police investigation as detectives try to establish who owned the gun that the kids were playing with. At Brookdale Hospital, the victim's family is waiting and hoping little Brenda Fields' condition improves. The 8-year-old girl was shot in the face. The shooting happened on Pacific Street in the Brownsville section of Brooklyn, where tempers flared after the shooting as several people were taken in for questioning.
It's shocking. It's like, but this is a dangerous area.
Residents and police are sifting through the shock and the emotion in order to sort out why a little girl ended up critically wounded.
Well, her injuries, she was shot right above her eye. She was shot right above the eye, and I just, put a towel on her head to stop the bleeding.
He says he tried to help after hearing about the shooting. According to relatives of the two children involved, it all unfolded on the building's 4th floor. 2 cousins were playing. The suspect lived here. The victim was just visiting. Law enforcement sources say at some point the children were playing with a gun when the gun went off, a bullet striking the 8-year-old in the face. When police arrived on the scene, they took the 10-year-old boy into custody.
And the little boy came out in handcuffs, and they put him away in a patrol car and drove off.
And right now, that 10-year-old is at the 73rd precinct being questioned by police. It looks like this may have been a tragic accident, though police continue to investigate. There could be more arrests in this case, especially as police establish who owned the gun that the kids were playing with. We're live in East New York tonight. Jeff Pegues, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Jeff, thank you. Also in Brooklyn tonight, police say a New York State senator was driving an SUV that struck and critically injured an elderly woman. It happened just before noon at the intersection of 3rd Avenue and 84th Street in Bay Ridge. Police say Senator Marty Golden was at the wheel when his 2005 Chevy SUV hit an 84-year-old pedestrian. Police say the woman was crossing against a light and that Senator Golden stopped to help her. The woman was rushed to nearby Lutheran Hospital in critical condition.
Charles, police in the Bronx are trying to track down a murder suspect tonight. Investigators believe 46-year-old Juan Ramos shot and killed his ex-girlfriend, Marilyn Rodriguez, early this morning in a Bronx bodega, allegedly because she refused to get back together with him. If you have any information about where Ramos is, you are urged to call the police immediately.
And tonight, investigators are trying to determine the cause of a deadly fire that took the life of a young woman. It happened on South 5th Street in the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn. Firefighters arrived at the 3-story home just before 10 a.m. and put the fire out quickly. The victim's body was found in a first-floor bedroom. Officials still haven't released the victim's name. 3 firefighters were treated for minor injuries.
In an effort to help firefighters improve response times, there is a new order tonight. New York City fire trucks can now travel legally in the wrong direction on one-way streets. The new order allows the trucks to go down the street the wrong way when the engine or ladder company leaves the firehouse. Also, when it turns into the block of the reported emergency. Union officials say the new order is aimed at shaving crucial minutes in heavy traffic areas. Tonight, the off-duty firefighter who died in a motorcycle accident in the Bronx yesterday has been identified as 34-year-old David Romero. He was hit by a car last night as he was riding on Sedgwick Avenue alongside the Major Deegan. Police say the driver of the car was making an illegal U-turn. She's been issued a summons for disobeying pavement markings. Romero was assigned to Ladder 48 in the Bronx.
And there is encouraging news tonight about a desperate drama unfolding beneath the sea. Rescue teams have now reached the stranded Russian submarine. They've cut that sub free, and now they're waiting for the vessel to hopefully surface. The vessel sunk to the bottom of the Pacific about 10 miles off the Kamchatka Peninsula 3 days ago. U.S. and British naval teams arrived in eastern Russia today equipped with remote-controlled Scorpio subs, capable of cutting and untangling ropes and cables. Within just the last couple of hours, the British Scorpio was successful in freeing the sunken Russian sub. The vessel had become snarled on a fishing net more than 620 feet below the surface, with 7 Russian sailors on board. Today, Russian officials were able to make contact with the sub, but weighing heavy on their minds how much oxygen was in the sub.
It's a claustrophobic environment. They're almost certainly operating in total darkness, and they're going to be aware the biggest single danger is going to be the buildup of carbon dioxide.
For the families of the stranded sailors, it's been an agonizing wait. Today, the captain's wife clutched her husband's photograph while holding on to hope the international rescue attempt would be a success. At this point, it's still unclear if the rescuers intend to raise that sub or if the vessel will perform an emergency resurfacing, rising rapidly on its own.
The crew aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery is preparing for the end of a very productive journey. The shuttle undocked from the International Space Station today, then looped around the station for a full photographic survey. The astronauts are now gearing up for the shuttle's return to Earth on Monday, and NASA is already calling the trip a success. ABC News will broadcast live coverage of Discovery's landing beginning at 4 a.m. Monday right here on Channel 7.
Also tonight, a mysterious fuel spill is causing concern on Staten Island. Late this afternoon, emergency crews on the scene of a spill in a creek in the Richmond town section. Investigators say the spill appears to involve about 70 gallons of petroleum dumped right into the creek illegally. They say it's too early to tell what the environmental impact of the spill will be or who it is who's responsible.
The hot weather and absence of rain are forcing water restrictions in several New Jersey communities tonight. Reserves there have dropped dangerously low. In Bergen County, Wyckoff, Midland Park, Ridgewood, and Glen Rock are all now under a stage 4 alert. That means effective immediately, no lawn watering at any time. The restrictions apply to roughly 60,000 customers of the Ridgewood Water Company, whose reserves have dropped to 32% capacity.
We're actually in very serious shape right now. We're down in the low 30% range of tank storage, and that's critical to public safety in case of a major fire.
Well, anyone violating the water restrictions in Wyckoff, Ridgewood, Midland Park, and Glen Rock are subject to fines of $50 to $500.
Also, New Jersey's acting governor has now ordered immediate inspections of all window guards at hundreds of residential high-rises throughout the Garden State. Richard Cody's order comes 2 days after a 5-year-old boy fell to his death from a 15-story window in Newark. Investigators say Zaire Atkins was able to open the window high enough for him to crawl or climb out over the window guard. The window was not supposed to open more than 4 inches above that guard. And where in London bombing suspects were trying to send a message were they with their clothing? Well, coming up, why investigators are taking a close look at this New York sweatshirt.
And, oh boy, Jets and Giant football players not keeping their cool during a practice game today.
And I hope you had a chance to enjoy the comfortable temperatures for today because the humidity returns tomorrow. I'll have more details in the full AccuWeather forecast.
Living on the wrong side of town, two brothers strive to make it. Rick Schroeder and Brad Pitt star in Across the Tracks. Tonight after Eyewitness News at 11.
Treat yourself to the best values of the year at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event.
English, I understand.
Bloody good. I'm a British officer